So you're a beverage executive in 2025. Your product is more addictive than nicotine, more profitable than oil, and you've got 2 billion people hooked on it daily. Best part, it's completely legal, socially acceptable, and parents literally give it to their children. The substance is caffeine. And while you're making over $300 billion a year, emergency rooms are filling with overdosing teenagers, and pregnant women are unknowingly damaging their babies' brains. But hey, at least the quarterly reports look fantastic. Welcome to Flawless Glitch. Here's the beautiful paradox of modern civilization. We've created a world where 85% of adults need a drug just to function normally. Not want, need. The average American consumes 200 milligrams of caffeine daily, about 2 cups of coffee. But if you thought that was the whole story, you're sadly mistaken. The top 10% are down in over 500 milligrams every single day. That's 5 cups of coffee or 3 energy drinks every single day. And it all started with the raid that almost nobody remembers. October 1909. Federal agents intercept 40 barrels and 20 kegs at the Tennessee border. But this wasn't bootleggers or moonshiners. This was Coca-Cola syrup. And the man behind the raid was Harvey Washington Wiley, America's first food safety crusader. Now, Coca-Cola had already removed the cocaine from their formula. Wiley didn't care about that. What terrified him was watching 4-year-old children drinking Coca-Cola like it was water, getting hooked on something else entirely. 78 milligrams of caffeine per serving. Coca-Cola fought back with science, hiring psychologist Harry Hollingworth to conduct one of history's first legitimate drug studies. Over 64,000 measurements across multiple cognitive tests. The data was so overwhelming that government attorneys literally refused to cross-examine him. When the Supreme Court finally ruled in 1916, Justice Charles Evans Hughes delivered a message that should have changed everything. Proprietary formulas couldn't shield products from regulation. So what did Coca-Cola do? They made a deal. Cut the caffeine in half, stop marketing directly to children, and everyone goes home happy. Problem solved, right? Fast forward to today, and that compromise became the foundation for humanity's most successful addiction. Finland leads the world at 12 kilograms of coffee per person per year. That's 26 pounds of coffee beans for every man, woman, and child. The entire Nordic region runs on caffeine, with Sweden, Iceland, and Norway following close behind. America? We're at 5 kilograms per person, but our massive population makes us the world's biggest consumer, importing over 28 million bags annually.
That's a lot of damage.
But here's where it gets interesting. Major reviews analyzing over 200 studies found something nobody expected. People drinking 3 to 4 cups daily aren't just surviving, they're thriving. All-cause mortality drops by 17%. Cardiovascular death decreases by 19%. Type 2 diabetes risk falls 30%. Liver cirrhosis plummets nearly 40%. Even Alzheimer's risk drops by 27%. Sounds like a miracle drug, doesn't it? Well, not so fast. A groundbreaking 2025 study discovered something the coffee industry really doesn't want you to know. Only morning coffee drinkers showed these benefits. People consuming caffeine throughout the day, no advantage whatsoever. Morning-only consumers saw cardiovascular death reduction reach 31%. Afternoon and evening drinkers might as well be drinking water, at least as far as longevity is concerned. But if you thought the story stopped there, oh, you're so sadly mistaken. Remember those 4-year-olds Harvey Wiley worried about? Turns out he was right to be concerned. When pregnant women consume over 200 milligrams daily, the risk of pregnancy loss jumps 46%. Low birth weight risk rises 31%. But here's the truly terrifying part. Children of mothers who consume high amounts of caffeine show lower IQ scores at age 5. The odds of cognitive delays more than doubled. Think about that. Your morning latte could be affecting your unborn child's intelligence. The math gets even scarier for kids themselves. Give a 45 milligram dose to a 20 kilogram child, roughly a can of Coke to a 7-year-old, and they're getting nearly 4 times the relative dose an adult receives. Animal studies show caffeine slows neuronal migration during brain development by 50%. Half. Their brains literally develop slower. African American children experience blood pressure increases over 6 millimeters of mercury higher than Caucasian children at identical doses, suggesting genetic vulnerabilities we're only beginning to understand. Enter the energy drink industry. Because why stop at coffee when you can weaponize caffeine? The market exploded from $5.4 billion in 2006 to a projected $87 billion globally this year. Monster, Red Bull, and now Prime Energy, launched by YouTube celebrities and containing 200 milligrams per can, equivalent to 6 Coca-Colas. These companies didn't just stumble into success. They cultivated young audiences through extreme sports sponsorships, social media campaigns, and products deliberately designed to look like video game power-ups. Mission accomplished. Among teenagers aged 13 to 17, over 64% have tried energy drinks. For 16 and 17-year-olds, it's above 72%. This despite the American Academy of Pediatrics explicitly stating energy drinks are inappropriate for anyone under 18.
I need it!
The consequences are filling emergency rooms. Between 2007 and 2011, energy drink related visits doubled from 10,000 to over 20,000. Among adults over 40, visits nearly quadrupled. By 2023, caffeine overdoses among middle schoolers had more than doubled from just 6 years prior. Nearly half these emergencies involve mixing energy drinks with alcohol or other substances, creating cocktails of stimulants that push hearts beyond their limits. So how does this drug actually work? Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in your brain, preventing the natural drowsiness signal. A typical 400 milligram dose occupies about half of all adenosine receptors. Your brain responds by creating more receptors, approximately 35% more within 4 weeks. When you stop, all those extra receptors suddenly bind adenosine simultaneously. The result? Crushing fatigue that makes you reach for another cup. Withdrawal hits within 12 to 24 hours. Headaches affect half of all users. Concentration collapses. Depression emerges. These symptoms can develop after just 3 consecutive days of use. 3 days, and you're hooked. But here's the part nobody talks about: sleep. Caffeine consumed even 13 hours before bedtime still disrupts REM sleep. Total sleep time drops 45 minutes on average. Deep sleep decreases over 11 minutes. Unlike other effects, no tolerance develops to sleep disruption, ever. The half-life ranges from 4 to 6 hours normally, but extends to 18 hours during pregnancy. That morning coffee needs 9 hours to clear sufficiently for normal sleep. Pre-workout supplements? 13 hours. The industry protects this golden goose through sophisticated lobbying. When healthcare reform threatened soda taxes in 2009, the American Beverage Association spent $19 million, 10 times their usual budget. Since then, over $67 million fighting regulations across 19 states. In California alone, beverage companies contributed to 90% of legislators while spending $12 million over 2 years. When deaths triggered Senate investigations, energy drink makers deployed prestigious law firms and connected lobbyists. Their solution? Voluntary guidelines promising not to market to children under 13. Meanwhile, their products appear in middle school vending machines and their logos saturate youth platforms. So here we are, over a century after Harvey Wiley's raid, and the substance he feared now flows through billions of veins daily. For healthy adults consuming moderate amounts in the morning, benefits likely outweigh risks. The evidence supports protective effects against multiple diseases. But for pregnant women, children, adolescents, and those with psychiatric conditions, we're conducting a massive, uncontrolled experiment with concentrated doses and aggressive youth marketing. The question isn't whether caffeine is good or bad. It's whether we'll continue allowing an industry worth hundreds of billions to target vulnerable populations with increasingly powerful doses. Harvey Wiley saw this coming in 1909. He tried to stop it. He failed. And now we're living with the consequences. One energy drink emergency at a time. The flawless glitch. And remember, that morning coffee might be saving your life, but that afternoon monster could be destroying your child's future. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.